Helping Seniors Television, all about improving quality of life for seniors. If you're a senior, know a senior, or plan to be a senior, then this show is for you. It's all about helping you develop your own aging plan so you can age actively and with dignity. Helping Seniors Television from the Helping Seniors Network of information, education, and resources.
I'm really excited for you guys to hear about this because I remember very early on in the helping seniors world, my background is media. I didn't know anything about seniors except that we were caregivers for our mothers, which that is probably like a a graduate level course in all of it, right? but I remember early on, Joe Steckler, he said, Kerry, would you go give a talk about helping seniors at one of the Parkinson groups, and so I got a chance to talk about helping seniors, but I also got a chance to learn a lot about what Parkinson's is. And so fast forward a few years and have the privilege of meeting Janice Moia. And she says, I have this nonprofit. This is important. It's nonprofit. I like nonprofits just because it should be a sign that we're in this for the right reason. There's nothing wrong with for-profit. I just want to say that, but you have to then check the people out and make sure that they really are here to help you and not just take your money, right? I mean, but with a nonprofit, and I said, what's the nonprofit? She said, called Rock Steady Boxing. So immediately I'm seeing Mike Tyson and George Foreman, Muhammad Ali, and all these different things, and I'm like, really, for Parkinson's patients? And she said, well, no, let me explain. This is fascinating. What you're going to learn, and what I really love about it, kind of skipping to the end, is it makes such a difference and really kind of can, am I saying this right? Really can hold things at bay for years and years. So you want to hear, even if this is something that's not necessarily a challenge in your life, you may know somebody or you may run into it. So as always, everything that we can learn is going to be helpful. So with that, I'd like to ask Janice Moia, Rock Steady Boxing at Advanced Fitness Center right here in Melbourne, to come up and share a little about this program. And she's also a movie star, right? And I'll let you explain about that. But literally, the Melbourne Film Festival.
Film Festival, yeah.
All right.
Okay, so as he said, I'm Janice Moia, and I'm from Rock Steady Boxing. A little bit about my background. I was born in New Jersey, one of 5 children. We moved to Florida. We took a trip to Florida. On our trip back, our van broke down in Melbourne Beach. So we ended up staying in Melbourne Beach for like 4 or 5 days. My parents fell in love, put in a transfer, and we were down here within a year. So and that was back in 1979. So I've been here a long time. So I went to Mel High, graduated from local schools and everything. So I'm pretty much a local. My husband says I'm not because I wasn't born here, because he was. But anyway, I beg to differ. I have 3 children. Grown, and I have 4 grandchildren. So we spend a lot of time together with family. Family is very important to me. It's number one, and then my work. So, and we are now in the process of learning about Medicaid, and I have a few years, but not that many. So we are on our route of retiring. So with doing that, I opened up the Rock Steady Boxing about 6.5 years ago. I did physical therapy for over 20 years, and I wasn't able to do it anymore. So my hands just got too arthritic, and I started a little bit later in life. So I started doing personal training at my little space in my husband's office building, and I started getting all these Parkinson's people. You should know that my dad was also diagnosed with Parkinson's when he was 58 years old, so that's considered young onset. He passed away 10 years later, but he did have other things going on with asbestos. He was a telephone man, climbed in attics, that kind of thing. So anyway, I started getting all these people with Parkinson's, and they're like, you worked with it, you were a caretaker, you did 20 years of physical therapy with people with Parkinson's, so, you should look into this Rock Steady Boxing. And I'm like, well, I'm not a boxer, like most people say. And you get that a lot from other clients come up and go, I'm a woman, I don't box, or I'm a man, I've never put a pair of boxing gloves, and it seems kind of violent to me. And I said, well, you're not hitting each other. It's a non-contact boxing. So, I went to the program. It was 2.5 days of learning, and became certified as a coach. And that was 6.5 years ago. I started with 4 people, and today I have my roster today was at 72. So we started with one little class with 4, and that was in April, and then by July I had 10 or 12. So I thought this was just going to be something I do to make a little extra cash or just have some fun with people. And I was still doing my personal training, and it was just a way for me to be with people and help people. And it turned out by July, I had like 15 people, and my phone was not stopping the ringing. So I knocked a wall down where I was at. Luckily, I was in a place that just kept going back and back and back. I started out with 1,100 square feet. Now I have 3,500 square feet. So started out with 1 heavy bag. Now we have 8 heavy bags, and we have 8 speed bags, 8 double M bags. So we work with all those different types of things, and I'll get into that in a minute. But so let me just tell you a little bit about Rocksteady Boxing. It was founded 18 years ago by a man named Scott Newman. He was also a young onset. He was 40 when he was diagnosed. He was a state prosecutor up there, and he was deteriorating quickly. For whatever reason, he was starting not to have trouble walking. His balance was going, his handwriting, his everything, and he was, getting ready to quit his job. His buddy was a boxer, a Golden Gloves boxer, and he said, "Come on to my gym and let's do some boxing and let's see what happens." So they came to the gym and they started working out as a boxer. He was hitting heavy bags, doing all agility work and everything. And all of a sudden, his symptoms, his tremors decreased, his handwriting got better. He actually continued to work for another 10 years. By doing this program that they started with just learning how to box. And he started a program, non-profit for young onset only. And within 6 years, people were hearing about it all over the country and like calling them and saying, "We want to do this. We want to do this." So 6 years in, they started training people to do their Rocksteady Boxing method. When it first started, it was strictly about training like a boxer. Since I joined in the last 6.5 years, they've brought on their president is a physical therapist. They have people on the board. They have neurologists on the board. They do studies with the University of Illinois up there in Indianapolis. That's where I went. That's the main hub. And they're showing proof that this program increases new neural pathways in the brain. They've taken PET scans and proven this. And they've also they've had people there since they opened 18 years ago are still coming to them, driving themselves. I mean, to hear their stories, and you can go on their main website, it's rocksteadyboxing.org, and go into their testimonials, and you'll see videos of them when they first started. We saw all this when I went, 6.5 years ago. And here they come walking in, and they're showing these videos, and they're on walkers, and they just look defeated. And they come walking into the room we're in, and we're all just like, holy cow. There wasn't a dry eye in the room. It was amazing. So what is Rocksteady Boxing? It's considered an intense force exercise program. So everybody's intense force is a little different. It's science proven. And they say, well, why boxing? Well, boxing increases movement from all parts of the body at different times, several different moving, you're moving your hands, you're moving your feet. Anytime we do multiple movement and we cross over or, balance, a lot of balance when you have to box, you have to be able to hold yourself. And, people that come in wheelchairs or walkers or canes, we encourage to stand there with them. We put gait belts on them and we hold them up and they hit that bag. And then all of a sudden you start seeing confidence. And they're getting their confidence back because they're just like, oh, I'm standing here hitting a heavy bag and I'm not ready to fall over. What's going on here? They've gotten to the point sometimes they're so scared of falling that they don't want to let go of that walker or get out of that, walk too far without that thing. So just a few facts here. So if you don't have Parkinson's, that's wonderful. But this was done in 2021. 10 million people worldwide are living with Parkinson's disease. Nearly 1 million people in the U.S. By 2030, they're saying there's going to be U.S. 1.2 million. And 10 to 20% of the people with Parkinson's are under 50 years old, and that's considered young onset. I have one lady right now, she's 46, and she was just diagnosed. She's probably had Parkinson's for the last 3 or 4 years, but because she was so young, she just got misdiagnosed for all kinds of different things. So, and then unfortunately, men are twice as likely to develop Parkinson's than women. So like I said before, there's been several medical studies on the Parkinson's, and that the high intensity exercise is really well. So this past week, 2 weekends ago, I went to the coaches conference, where there's been new studies being done in the last 2 years, and they're still waiting even on further results about adding in cycling to complement the rock steady boxing. So like stationary cycles, and to get their heart rates up. And this is good for people with strokes or any other kind of neuro issues, traumatic brain injuries from when they were younger. Just getting on that bike and cycling at 80 RPMs, getting your heart rate to 80%. Well, they do the perceived, where you just can't talk. They don't actually, they will monitor you to make sure you're not getting too high, but just where you got to do it for 30 minutes, 3 times a week. And with the Rock Steady, they did studies on them and their brains. They took CAT scans and PET scans type of things. And they are showing, and people are just walking. One guy was using a walker and could barely walk. He comes in now, walks and gets on that bike, does his rock steady, does his strength training, and they're just showing that exercise should be. We had a couple of doctors get up and talk, neurologists, and they're like, we all should be writing an exercise besides their medication, but a prescription for exercise, and that goes for all of us. Getting older. I know when I don't exercise, I don't feel as good as when I am exercising. And it doesn't have to be crazy. But if you get that 30 minutes and with your heart rate getting up and, just sitting on a bicycle for 30 minutes and you work yourself up to that, it's not that, I tried it and it's not that hard. I thought it was going to be really hard, and I'm not good cardio. I've always had bronchitis and what kind of things. So having that, I didn't even have to do my inhaler anymore. So it's pretty cool that I've actually gained up some of my own lung capacity. So that's a pretty cool thing. So back to the boxing, ESPN ranks boxing as the most intense form of training in terms of degree of difficulty compared to 60 other sports. It's moderate to high intensity exercise is proven form of exercise for people with Parkinson's, then boxing is a good fit for you. What boxers train to improve? We have balance, hand-eye coordination, speed of movement, agility, muscle power, mental focus, rhythm, and that's just a few. We have proprioception. We work on balance every time you come in. We do 2 or 3. So what the class looks like, you come in, everybody, it's a social thing. Class starts at 10:15, everybody's there by 9:30. So 9:30, 9:45. So they come in and they talk about their families, themselves, their lives. We do a support group. I think I said already, Wednesday mornings at 9:30 to 10:15. So if you have Parkinson's, and that's open to everyone in the community. And then we do our warm up for about 10 minutes or so. And then we put our gloves on and we box for about 40 to 45 minutes, depending on how many people we have. So I have 9 classes a week, Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays, 10:15. That's my large class. There's about anywhere from 20 to 25 people in that class. And then the 12:45, anywhere from 10 to 18. That's just weird for whatever reason. And then my lower functioning group is at 2:30. That class is a little bit not as long. It's only 60 minutes versus the 90 minutes classes in the mornings. Sounds like a lot, right? 90 minutes, holy cow. But you'd be surprised. It goes by quickly. Everybody, we keep you busy. We talk a lot. We laugh a lot. There's a lot of rest periods. We take rest as well, water breaks. We keep you hydrated. Very important with Parkinson's to stay hydrated. Well, for all of us, really. And then after we do the boxing, we take our gloves off and we do we just anywhere from, I have to do 12 now because we never know if we're going to have more than 24. But so 12 stations, so sometimes 20 stations, and that includes ropes, balance activities, TRXs, that's all your own body weight exercises, a TRX, the straps that come off the walls. And we do, agility. Well, the boxing's first, yeah. And sometimes we incorporate more boxing into the actual circuit, but the circuit is more like, it's all different timings. We do 6 rounds of 20 seconds on, 10 seconds off. And then, so you get, try to get it really intense, and then you rest for 10 whole seconds. I tell them that's the best rest you're ever going to get here, because we usually do 5. But so anyway, yeah, we do that, and it changes up all the time. We have agility ladders. We get on the floor and we do core. And most of, I'd say 95% of them, even in the lower functioning class, they get on the floor because it's always good to get on the floor and practice how to get up. So sometimes we just get on the floor, we crawl around, and then we go back over to the chair and get ourselves back up. That's the whole station. And we try to do it at least 2 or 3 times and in a 2.5 minute period. So I know it sounds crazy, right? It's good to get on the floor. The floor should be your friend. You shouldn't be afraid of the floor. So, I wanted to just talk a little bit about the Rocksteady method, the boxer's regimen, functional fitness, intense circuit-based training. It's pushing you beyond your perceived limits. And tough love is so much fun. So when exercise is done in a way that pushes or forces someone out of their comfort zone, this is a personal, individual amount. We never push anybody, but we encourage it with positive reinforcements and compliments. No one is ever forced to do anything they're not comfortable with. So if you say, no, I adamantly do not want to do this today, we just say, okay, but we're going to try it tomorrow. So we'll ask you every day. So I did that. I'm talking fast. Question, sure. 3 times a week. 3 times a week. Yep. And the classes, like I said, the 10:15 and 12:45 are 90 minutes long. But sometimes they're shorter if we have less boxers. And you do get breaks while you're boxing because there's a line, because we have 8 bags. And if there's 20 of you, we have 2 to 3 per bag. So you get your rest in, or we shadow box in between to learn the combos. So we do all the different combos. There's basically 4 punches in boxing: a jab, a cross, a hook, and an upper. And they simply look like this.
So you have a boxing stance, it's 1 foot forward, that's always going to be your jab hit. Your back leg is always going to be your cross hit. And then your hooks can come from either side, and your uppercuts can come from either side. So we'll put a jab, cross, upper, in the 4 punches: jab, cross, hook, upper. Okay. And everybody thinks, oh my gosh, and then we click jab, cross, hook, upper, hook, cross, jab, and then it's like, what? So we just break it down. Jab, cross, hook, upper, hook, jab, and then like, the jab, cross, hook, upper, cross, jab. So like, okay, I did that backwards, jab. So, but anyway, that's basically the 4 punches. And
we put you with someone that's seasoned. And one of the coaches is always walking around, and they'll come talk to you and say, how you doing? What are you confused about? How can we help you? It just once they start coming, and most people with Parkinson's are scared. They just found out they have Parkinson's. They don't know what to do. And it's not a death sentence, especially if you exercise. I mean, I've had people that have been with me since day one, and they still come, and they surpass so many other people just because they really put the effort in and do that, do the exercise. So we always try to tell people, just come and watch a class. And 9 times out of 10, when they come and watch that class, it's, where do I sign up? How do I get in here as fast as possible? Because then everybody will come over and just say hi to you. How are you doing? How long have you been diagnosed? And they're like, oh, I've had it for 10 years. And they're like, what? You look great. You don't look like you have Parkinson's. So when you can, and Terry can attest. That's the huge part, is a camaraderie. Yes. When they all find out that they are all walking that same walk. And that's why we keep it strictly for people with Parkinson's disease, because it's such a unique disease where, they don't all get dementia. That's a myth. Not everybody gets dementia. And sometimes it's just a slight cognitive, decline. Who doesn't get that, right? Hopefully, not too many, but so other people do get what they call Lewy body dementia, and that's a little more serious. It moves along a little more faster. But those are when, I've had several of them come in, and right now I have a cortical basal degeneration, Parkinsonism. And this guy wasn't able to, it gives him like a phantom hand. This guy started boxing, and that hand boxes now. Like it does, it's starting to, the brain is retraining, and he can actually use both hands. When he first came, the hand just didn't move. He would just box with the one hand. and it would just, it does its own thing over here, and his leg was a little bad, but now he actually does. And the doctor's like, well, you can try it, but I don't know if it's going to work. They went to the doctors. They were like, wow, this is incredible, like incredible to see. And every time I see him come in, and the wife even said, like, he's talking better. He's, walking around better. So I get goosebumps. But every time I didn't come up with this program. I just teach it, and I bring my expertise of physical therapy to it. And we just learned at the coaches conference that we need to push a little harder for them to get into that perceived forced when they feel like they can't talk into that 30 minutes, even if they do 10 minutes and then they break it, and then 10 minutes and they break it. If they, in that 90 minutes, get that 30 minutes of that perceived I can't think of the word. I'm like doing a break. But it's your perceived, how much you think you're working. And basically we do it by, if you can talk normally like I'm talking now, I'm at a 1, and then to get to the 4 or 5, it would be like, okay, I'm having a hard time now. I can barely talk. So that's where we want to get you. We don't want you to not be able to talk at all, of course, because then you might not be awake. But so anyway, there's one more thing. So Scott Newman, what I'm trying to do at my gym, I was totally just the Rocksteady. Like I said, I wasn't going to be that big of a deal. I went nonprofit a year and a half ago, and I've been called, to do this. And sorry, I get emotional. So my gym, I want to turn it into like a Parkinson's resource center. We're trying to figure out a cool name for it. We want to offer that cycling that I talked about. We also learned about all these other different exercises. They have these exercise cocktails now that they call cocktail, and you for each person will be individualized to what will work for you. Because Rocksteady Boxing is not going to work for everyone. Like you're just not going to be. It's just not for you, and that's okay. I don't like to do yoga, so that's just my thing. But so I'm not going to sign up for something I know I'm not going to do. So right now we already have Tai Chi. We can have a dance class back, but we didn't have a whole lot of not a lot of people join. So we're going to get the cycling started hopefully by the new year, and getting those cocktails of your personalized, and have 2 of us are getting trained in it, and to be able to assess someone and go, you know what? Why don't we just do the circuits in the Rocksteady Boxing, and you go back on the bike for 30 minutes instead of doing the boxing kind of thing? So we want to integrate it all together. We also, we've had a few activity days where we have everybody just come in and hang out. We set up the ping pong table. We also play ping pong. It's really good for them, and they love that. So we always have it set up when they come in, and they'll go play before class, and after class they'll stay sometimes and play. So the gym's open, whenever, if somebody wants to come by Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays, they're more than welcome. And we're going to try to get somebody in there on the Tuesdays and Thursdays. Like I said, I'm a family person, so I do grandbabies on one of those days, and then all my other appointments on the other day. So usually I've got stuff going on. But from Scott Newman, this is the guy that started the nonprofit, and this is what I want my place to feel like. He said, the words inscribed on the Statue of Liberty and hope symbolized by her presence at Ellis Island illustrated my dream that Rocksteady Boxing would be a beacon of light and hope for those suffering with Parkinson's disease. We want to be meeting and exceeding expectations about what can be done to conquer PD, well equipped and deeply funded to that task, but designed to fall short as a profit center, growing for the moral reasons, not the financial or self-justifying reasons. So we must be partners together that form a champion, something larger than life. That's all I got. Any questions?
Yes.
Okay.
Is your gym open to everybody and anybody, or do you have to have Parkinson's?
Right now, we are just strictly Parkinson's, but their spouses can come with them and work out. We have quite a bit of that, and we don't charge for that. And my goal is to fundraise and make enough money so the people with Parkinson's don't have to pay it all.
Okay, and how much are your fees?
So it's 3 times a month. It would be $75 for the month. And then twice a week is $55 for the month. Okay. And if you do have any kind of a heart, say that again. So 3 times a week is $75 a month. Twice a week is $55 a month. And if you do have any hardship, we do have scholarships because we are a nonprofit. So we set aside money when we did our fundraising for scholarship.
Where are you located?
I am located at 2176 Sarno Road. So that's the corner of Sarno and Croton. I'm in the Sarno complex, business complex. I don't know if anybody's familiar with the Brevard Health Alliance, the medicine shop, Sarno Pizza, anything? Okay. Family Dollars right there on the highway. Oh, Indian River Coffee. So that's my thing. I'm the door in between the medicine shop and then the Chinese food restaurant. You walk in that door, walk down the hall, and the first door on your left is the gym. The second door on your left is the gym, and then there's the bathrooms. And the third door on the gym that's all the walls we kept banging down. We're in three units. So, and that's the offices back there. Yeah, sir, you had a question?
Homes? Is that going to be somewhere down the road that you're going to be home visits or something like that, or home consultations?
Probably not, because the Rocksteady Boxing headquarters, we become affiliates. So if you go to do home care, they charge you for that, an extra so much a year. They charge you for this, charge you that. I mean, maybe down the road, but the whole thing about the Rocksteady Boxing part of it is the camaraderie. You know, coming in and being around other people and seeing like, oh, I'm not the only one that has that problem. But the thing with Parkinson's is you could have 5 symptoms, you could have 5, I could have 5, and you could have one of his, one of hers, and one of somebody else's. So there's no 2 people alike, and that's the thing. You can't look at someone and go, oh my gosh, is that going to be me? Someone that maybe has something a little more further advanced, or have had it, or have the Lewy bodies, or have some other Parkinsonism. You just can't take that as what's going to happen to you. So taking this into your own hands, and that's what they really emphasized at the coaches conference, was to really try to get people to understand and get the doctors to understand in our communities how much exercise is important as we age, even just to the person without Parkinson's, No, my oldest is 86. And he walks in on his own. He does not drive. His wife brings him. And my youngest is 44. And I have a couple others that are right at the 50 age too. So there are treatments for Parkinson's. There's DBSs, which are called deep brain stimulators, where they go in through the top of the head. You're awake for it and goes down into your brain. And that helps with the tremors. If you have a really bad tremor and the medicine's not really working for you, then they will do that DBS thing. And they also have a tube that goes into your stomach, and that's called Duopo. I can't remember that's what it's called. I haven't seen it in a while. I don't see it done that much really in a while. I don't know if they're just doing more DBSs. Are they also doing some kind of a ultrasound where they go in and zap a piece of your brain? I've had one guy do that, and he's back to work, and I haven't seen him because he works full time. Yeah. Wow. So things are changing. Things are getting better for people with Parkinson's. It's not a hopeless disease anymore. And they've shown that, the cognition part of things, people with Parkinson's that do work out, do the cycling, this is all recent studies that I just learned. The cycling is really good for Alzheimer's patients as well. They say it's really good for their brains. When you cycle, things happen in the brain. The dopamine area lightens up, and then other things. They say, like did pictures while people were cycling, and it's very interesting. I can give you all the name of the book that the lady wrote, and has all that information in it. So, anything else? Yeah, we're all on the Brevard Parkinson's Foundation, the Michael J. Fox Foundation. So whenever, they bombard you with these different emails and different things, and sometimes it's a really cool subject will come up, and Rob runs it. He's one of my clients. He gets, he puts it, we have a group email. He emails, anybody have anything they want to bring it, let me know. And then he sets out an agenda. So you kind of know what they're going to talk about every time. You can get on that email list if you give me your emails, and you can find out more about the Parkinson's too. Anybody else?
All right. So I was out of the room. First of all, a round of applause for Janice and the great work she's doing in our community. So I was out of the room for a minute or two. Did you talk about the movie?
Oh, no. So, so one of my coaches, she's done commercials. She's grown up around here too. I actually went to high school with her. I have a few people I went to high school with working with me. They just kind of reached out as we got older. So they called me up and said, "What are you doing? I want to come help you." So Faith is, she's done commercials. She's worked with the Melbourne Independent Film Festival producers and all that stuff. It's a pretty big thing if you're into that artsy, film festival thing. It was very cool. She's like, "This producer wants to meet you." His name is Russell. So he came in, he's like, watched the class for about a half an hour, and he goes, "I need to talk to you in the office." So he brought me in the office. He goes, I want to do a documentary on you." And I'm like, "Wow, okay. How much is that going to cost?" And he said, no, I'm doing this for free because I think what you're doing is amazing, and helping the people that you're helping is just, he goes, "I am so humbled by it." So he made this documentary, and they came in, and it was like you see on TV, the cameras are all over. They got those big whites everywhere, and all my folks were like, if they did not want to be on TV, they just didn't come that day. So, but everyone came. I think one person did not come, but I even had one lady go and had her hair done for the film. And every time I see it, I'm like, "Who is that?" I go, "Oh, it's Vicky." But it came out. It's 15 minutes long. Unfortunately, we had to wait, and I think it's coming today. It's going to be on YouTube, so I will get that to Kerry once I get that link.
We'll
and you can all watch.
publicize it.
It's 15 minutes long, from start to finish. So the music in the beginning to the music at the end is 15 minutes. Yes, sir. Oh, it's called Hitting Back. Hitting Back, and it's by Russell Sanders. And I'll give you that information so you can get that out there. He has not. That's why I keep checking my email. I was waiting for it this morning. I was like, maybe I could get your guy to put it up, but I don't. I'm in there some, but we interviewed 3 boxers. They did videos of what we do. They did a really good job of showing all the different levels of people in there, because we have high functioning folk that, they come walking in and they're like, "What kind of gym is them?" That's why people always stop by and say, "Can I join your gym?" I'm like, "No, these people have Parkinson's disease." They're like, "What?" So, it's pretty impressive. I mean, even if you don't have Parkinson's, you want to come and watch a class, come on in. The doors are always open.
Yeah, so I'm sure we'll see her like when they do the Oscar nominations and all this, right?
But we did win the People's Choice Awards. So it was
All
really
right.
exciting. Really exciting. We had to get votes from all the people that attended, and we had the most votes. So
All right.
That was pretty exciting. Yeah.
Can't wait to see it.
It was really fun. We got to dress up, in fancy stuff, and did a red carpet walk that night of awards. And so they do like a big thing, and it was really cool. I was really proud to be a part of it, and very humbled by everyone's comments and everything. It was pretty cool. So.
All right.
Thank you.
Round of applause for Janice. It is terrific. It is terrific.
I'm Joe Steckler. Thank you for joining our program today. I'd like to remind you that our senior information line is available to you at 321-473-7770. There you can get help and direction that could be helpful for your specific situation or circumstances. The work of helping seniors is very important, but we can't do it alone. That is why our sponsors here in Brevard County are so important. I'd like to thank our many area sponsors, businesses, and medical providers who support the mission of helping seniors that help us carry the cost of our media efforts. If you'd like to join us either as a business partner or simply donate as an individual, we welcome your call at 321-473-7770. You are always welcome to visit our website at www.helpingseniorsofbrevard.org. Thanks so much for your help. It does make a difference.